All right, so right now I'm here with Colonel Wayne Worrell. He's the president of the Barbados Landship Association. Now, Colonel, let's talk dance.
Okay.
The Afro-centric side. You know, how does that play into landship?
Well, it's from what Dr. Jacobs would have outlined, there's a strong African influence into the landship. And in fact, from what some other scholars have identified, because the need for the formerly enslaved to celebrate and to have a good time, they needed a way to guise their dance. You know, if Africans, when we do African dance, we do it for celebration. It could be a wedding, for a funeral. But guess what? Sometimes they do it the night before the war tribe goes out.
Okay.
So the British can't decipher which one is this African dance. So dancing was banned. And the idea of guising naval maneuvers, which was more palatable to them, and include a bit of the African dance. That's why landship dance is so unique, because it combines the naval maneuvers and all the things you do in the Navy, but you throw in now the African movement. So they did something that was understandable. It was easily understandable to the British. So it's like, oh, they're doing maneuvers and that's fine. But they use it as a guise to throw in the African. And apart from it being extremely smart, that is why landship dance is so unique. It's a very, very unique dance, unique to Barbados, because of those combination of elements. In fact, if you're doing landship dance right now, and for those of you who would like to try later, if you're doing the naval part and not throwing in the African rhythms, you're not doing landship.
Okay.
Okay, you have to throw the African rhythm into it.
All right, so right now we, tuck is involved, but we know the original rhythm of landship is not tuck. Tell us about that.
Well, let me go back a little bit, because sometimes people get confused when you say rhythm.
Yes.
I probably should have said maneuvers.
Yes.
African maneuvers. So I really should have said African maneuvers. The movement of the hips and the body movement is what I'm really referring to when I said rhythm just now, but it's the adoption of the African maneuvers into the dance that helped to make it landship dance. The engine of the landship, let me repeat, the engine of the landship are the drums and the cowbell and the penny whistle, etc. And yes, tuck is a form that was around probably even before landship, but it was the music of the time. But what the landship did is to incorporate the rhythms of the time into their routine. So therefore, you would play Fassi, which is the a slower, is a marching beat, or you could play waltz, which is even slower. But these in landship terms represent pounds of steam. So in other words, the waltz is like 40 pounds of steam. Okay? And when you're going up to 60 pounds of steam, you're talking about doing the Fassi. This is a slightly faster rhythm.
Okay.
But when you're really going down the road, meaning the ship is now in open sea, and we now going to be ripping across the Atlantic or the ocean, and towards our destination, we can put some full steam, and that's when you're going to the fast beat that we call tuck. But it's really the pounds of steam that represents the different pace and speed in which the landship moves at. Yeah.
So just hearing that from you, and you just talking about the rhythms or the maneuvers and that kind of stuff. Now in 2026, are there any added maneuvers?
That's a beautiful question. In order for anything to really survive over time, it must adapt.
Yes. And
there must be some changes. However, it is important to stress that it was done actually by the late Lord High Admiral Vernon Watson, identified 16 traditional landship maneuvers. You can repeat after me. 16 traditional landship maneuvers.
Gotcha.
And when we go into the schools and we're attempting to teach landship, you're not really doing landship if you don't know the traditional maneuvers.
Yes.
So part of the assessment of any group of individuals wanting to form a ship is to demonstrate the 16 traditional maneuvers. Once you have demonstrated that, you, along with your dance instructor, etc., can feel free to try new maneuvers.
Yeah.
And actually, I wish that every ship have their own signature maneuver that they're known for. And we would have to make sure that it conforms to, you know, what we expect of landship. So there are a number of modern maneuvers that are out there that we also allow to be incorporated once those individuals demonstrate that they know the traditional landship maneuvers.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. But my mind now just wondering, like, what goes into making a new maneuver for it to be acknowledged, and not that somebody just randomly freestyling, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Well, what I can tell you based on what have been presented and accepted already, first thing is the terminology has to be what?
Traditional still?
Naval.
Naval, okay, yes.
Naval.
Yes.
For example, they have words like the avalanche or the tsunami, etc. So, for example, an example of a new maneuver is the school decide they're going to do something called the tsunami. And, you know, a traditional landship maneuver could be man overboard, which is when the person fall on the ground.
Yes.
And they decided the tsunami is when everybody fall down. And they can do it sometimes for the end of their routine. Everybody fall down. And there are some wonderful maneuvers that also incorporate a little more of the African dance or the pure African dance that have been incorporated. So ideally is to make sure that it is within the African tradition.
Yeah.
It is nice if there's also naval in how it represents. And furthermore, the name of it would obviously needs to be in keeping with the actions, movements, and the environment of a landship.
I love it. This is beautiful. Our culture is beautiful, guys. Now I want to talk a little bit more about the preservation of the culture now. Because, you know, we talked about the schools being involved and that kind of stuff. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, the preservation would include not only introducing the schools, but it goes as far as the community. And the NCF is doing a wonderful job with their community program and trying to get community ships going.
Yeah.
But it's very important that landship returns to the community. Okay? Part of the preservation involves the uniforms, the terminology, everything, but more than anything else, you must make sure that the core principles of landship are restored and also brought in. This is my job now, and brought into the 21st century. Okay?
Yeah.
So we are not changing just willy-nilly. We are using those core ideas and principles. The simple concept that many people can come together and create something even bigger than just if it was one. The strength in numbers, etc. For example, bringing back things like the Savings Club is one of the things that are being introduced. And even doing the Susu again.
Yeah.
But let me repeat, bringing it into this century. So there's some things on the works. I don't want to jump ahead and think, but you'll be wonderfully impressed with some of the new initiatives. Well, they're old initiatives that are being rebirthed in a new functional way that will be more appealing to the young people. And that's what we're doing right now. Safeguarding also pertains to the protection of the name. My biggest issue with the safeguarding now is that landship is sexy and trending. So everybody jump on board and they go and do some walk-up thing and feel sweet, oh, they're doing landship. Landship is a lived heritage. In other words, this is not joke walk-up thing.
Yeah.
All right? This is paying tribute to the elders, those that had to persevere, etc. And it also involves recognizing, supporting each other. So there's still a lot of supporting each other, not just financially or otherwise, but academics with their studies, making sure that the individuals have an extended family, because this is what we need back in Barbados today.
Agreed.
All right?
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a child, and landship is becoming that village for many individuals who find it difficult to navigate just their situation. So this is what we are doing. And again, if this is what landship is, people are just saying, okay, let me go do to what you call a little walk up here and be doing landship. The instructors are not trained. The traditional maneuvers are not even known and incorporated.
Yeah. And you mentioned it was 16, right?
16.
Correct. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And remember, this is Admiral Vernon Watson, the late Vernon Watson, that would have documented these maneuvers. So it is important that we do things the right way. It can't be just done any old how, any willy-nilly, because UNESCO, who is assisting and helping to sponsor what we call the whole redevelopment process of landship, they're watching. So when they see in the papers and on YouTube, etc., some strange thing that's not in keeping with the culture, then it reflects negatively on the job that we are trying to do.
Yes.
So we're trying to do some conformity, to get people to conform through teaching the instructors, the trainers camp. Also, there's a landship teachers course that you have to pass before you can teach landship. And more than anything else, I believe persons should sign up to be a member. That's the great litmus test, you know.
Yeah.
Being a member don't mean that you have to be extremely involved. There are certain events that we consider to be very important for the organization, for its growth, for its camaraderie, for its showcase to the general public and to the government about the great work we're doing, that are kind of like, you know, we would prefer that you attend those and be part of those. But signing up don't even mean dancing. One of the biggest weaknesses I found in the association when I came was the supporting staff. You have police, you have soldiers. Soldiers go and raise, police go out and do their thing. Do you know how many people in the office doing reports, answering the phone, dealing with uniform, equipment, vehicles, and it could go on and on? Is a significant portion. So that was one of the big weaknesses. The person who performing is the same person who is bringing the maypole and bringing the stuff, is the same person who is getting the uniforms ready, is the person who have to rush and collect refreshments, etc., and is the same person that have to make sure everybody get home safely, etc. I'm so happy that a number of persons, mainly parents, have volunteered. And yes, they're members. They recently received uniform, and they will have their title, a title that is in keeping with their maturity. So no little child can come thinking boss with their maturity, but still they don't need to be out there, you know, etc. So things like kit inspector, we just put 2 parents, one who is extremely good at needleworking, and the other one who helps with the transport. And it's the first person that see persons when they get into the vehicle to go to appointment. And we made them kit inspectors so to make sure, and we're teaching them what to look for, make sure that they're in good order. And there are a number of other things that we're trying to improve. So signing up and being a member is not necessarily meaning that you are a dancing member. You are helping to support this culture that you love. So all that to say that it is easy to talk about loving Landship.
Yeah.
But come and get involved. The door is open. Every Barbadian need to recognize that this is part of their thing. And once persons like myself understood that, come and do the best you can to help and improve.
So if there's anybody who's tuned in right now that they want to be involved with the Barbados Landship, how can they contact you guys?
Okay, you can contact us in a number of ways. You can call our cell number, which is 820-7279. You could call the office, which is 429-9428. And you can email us at the Barbados Landship Association at gmail.com. Barbados Landship Association, all one word, at gmail.com.
Awesome. All right. All right, Colonel, thank you so much for your knowledge. I'm excited. We've learned so much about the Afro-centric movements, you know, the entire culture behind it, the 16 maneuvers. Hopefully, you're going to teach me, at least show me the 16 maneuvers today.
Well, we'll mention the 16. Getting in the 16. Difficult to show you all 16.
Okay.
Because some involve numbers. Something like
got it.
man overboard is just you alone falling down. You know, they even in a nurse to revive you. So, but we will mention them, and yes, we'll demonstrate some of the basic ones.
Awesome. All right, now let's get to that dance.